Space Shuttle, this is flight safety. Keep your hands on the handrail or inside the vehicle and remain seated while in motion. You are clear for launch. Have a great flight to Starport 75.
Hey, Glenn.
Hey, Chris, how are you?
Oh, pretty good. But before we get started, it is time for the traditional Coke energy drink of the night. You know me. I just like the plain Coke energy. So that's what I'm going with today.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got going over there?
Nothing. It's too late that I don't want to put any caffeine in my body, so or guarana. So
It's the guarana that's really the problem.
so next time we record, we'll do a little earlier, and I'll participate in Coke Corner.
Are you that sensitive to like caffeine? Like I know a couple of people that like literally after 3 o'clock in the afternoon they can't even have iced tea because they're like, oh, that'll keep me awake. I'm like, man, I'm struggling. Like I'm espresso shots at midnight to try and stay awake. Like where are you in that spectrum?
When it gets late enough, yeah, I would say after 9 o'clock, I can't have caffeine.
Wow. Okay. Or like you're up all night and you're like, oh, it's 2. It's 2 o'clock. Oh, it's 3 o'clock. Isn't that the worst? Like insomnia.
It
where
is.
You're like awake and you just keep looking at the clock. You go, oh, it's 2. No, it's 3. It's 4. And then before you know, it's time to get up.
Yep.
And then usually, if it's like me, you fall asleep like right before you're supposed to get up. Like you're just then having the good sleep.
That's the only way it works.
Yeah. I don't know why that is. All right. What are we talking about today? I know what I want to talk about. One of the first things.
What's that?
I want to talk about the elephant in the room.
Okay.
I got to check the rundown and make sure.
I have gained a little weight with this
Oh wait, no, you've got it.
quarantine, but I mean,
No,
come on,
you've got
Chris.
it. You've got it
Jeez.
further down the rundown. I'll wait. I'll try and do this in order. I'll follow
No,
the rules.
go ahead.
All right. Castle colors. What is going on? I can't take it. Like I'm bad. I'm bad at picking colors. Like painting rooms in a house, and then I'm like, that is not the color I thought I was going to paint. Like I am not good at it. But I think I would not even pick this color of salmony pink vomit. I don't. What is this color that they're painting our beloved Cinderella castle with? What is this?
Yeah, it's basically the same as Disneyland.
Is it? It doesn't look the same.
Yeah, it's close. I cynically, I think it's simply so they can streamline merchandise sales and then just have Castle Pink merchandise for both Disneyland and Disney World. No,
you don't
I'm
really
being
believe
serious.
that, do you?
1,000%.
No,
yes, absolutely.
How does that help that?
Well, they don't have to if they
because the castles are shaped differently. Right, one's like taller than the other one.
I know, but the colors are but they have paint and they painted the same pink on both castles. Don't you remember last year that Disneyland? They got the vibrant blue tops and everything else.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
but that's okay. That's the right direction.
So
but
you know how the merchandise they've been. It started with the rose gold, right? And then it went to whatever, I don't know.
And that's fine. You want to do all the gilding and rose gold, then have at it. Even that electric blue on the spires or whatever, I could even stomach that. I'd be like, okay, and maybe it'll fade a little bit in the brutal Florida sun we have here. But it's just that pink on the main part, just
I know it's definitely different. I'm not a fan. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm just taking the opposite side. I'm not a fan. But it's not. They obviously, from the first photos that we saw, they went back and weathered it or toned it down or whatever. But it's definitely still. Go ahead.
Because they knew people would lose their minds. They're like, we gotta dial that back a little bit.
Absolutely. But yeah, so it's still noticeable. I mean, it's not the timeless, to me. My opinion is it's not the timeless castle that we've known forever, where it's mostly gray and white, and they can, put lights on it and make it, at night, make it different colors and all. But yeah, this pink definitely. Now it's not the Pepto-Bismol pink of.
I'd rather have that. That was at least no. Here's my rationale. At least see previous episode, but at least that was a bold intentional move. This is just some sort of weak, homogenous nothing. Like I don't know. Like why does everything have to be the same? Can't we have different? Can't we have different things?
I agree. I think
'Cause then what-
absolutely.
What
it
reason
should
would I
been
have
unique
to go out to Disneyland? Because I'm like,
to
it's the
Florida?
same thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree, man.
No, well, then this is gonna be a short show.
Yeah. So, so the just to give people a perspective on when we're recording this, actually yesterday on July 7th, cast member previews have started at Disney World. So we've gotten our first flow of photos of the castle, of the park being open. And so everybody is flooding everywhere that I'm looking on Instagram and Twitter and everything, with pictures of themselves in front of the castle and the new paint scheme, and they all love it because it's the greatest because they're there and we're not, and
yeah, but well, whatever. I don't know what order you want to take this in, but I have feelings about that. I've gone through. I don't know how you feel. I've gone through like 7 different rounds of emotions because I'm watching not nearly as much as you do, but watching some of this the same stuff that you are. And I don't know. What are your thoughts about what you see? What do you wish
about
you were here?
The reopening?
Yeah, just like like the kind of vibe and the with the new normal. What do you think about that?
So what do I think about people going back in and the new look of Disney?
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely different. I'm looking. You sent me some pictures earlier today of the Haunted Mansion queue line.
No, you sent that to me.
I sent that to you?
Yeah,
I thought you sent that to me.
Oh my God, you're losing your mind. No, you sent that to me.
Really?
Or maybe somebody else sent it to both of us. I don't know.
I don't know. Man.
I did not send it to you.
I did send it to you. Son of a gun. Check that out.
That is
All right.
fantastic. I'm so glad that's down on tape. That's awesome.
So
Yeah.
the Haunted Mansion is actually probably, I would say, one of the perfect examples of how things are going to be different because, part of the Haunted Mansion's charm is that pre-show. You go in, you wait, they open the doors, you go into the stretching room
Where they
and-
jam you in like sardines, shoulder
where
to
they
shoulder.
do jam you in like sardines, and you hear the ghost host, and he tells a story, and the room stretches, and then it opens up, and the mad dash to get on the ride, and so that is it's going from outside to the pre-show to give you the background of what you're going to see, and then you finally get to go on the ride. So it builds that suspense. It gets you excited. And so that when you get on the ride, you have the background and all that. That's all gone. It's just a queue area now.
Temporarily.
And
Let's not. I mean, temporarily.
we said that. Well, I mean, yes. Let's hope temporarily.
Right.
I mean, we don't know how long this is going to take. This is going to be this
I hear
way.
it's going to be
but
gone.
yes.
It's going to be gone by Easter. That's what I heard.
Cool.
Whatever.
Peter Cottontail's going to take it away. Woo!
Yeah, I mean, and it is to jump in like the way they've done it is they basically just they trace some velvet ropes through that room, right? And they just prop the doors open, so it's essentially breaking the attraction, right? So
It is. It is.
so, but oh, good. I had questions for you, but go ahead.
No, go ahead. Your question will be
But like
more
when
valuable.
you see pictures or video, like what is your reaction? Is it if I gave you 2 or 3 things to pick from, do you see what people are doing there and you're like, man, I wish I were there. It's like not crowded. It looks like fun. Is the other end of the spectrum where you're like, man, that is bizarre and looks uncomfortable, and I guess that's it. Those are the kind of the 2 ends of the choices, or is some weird mixture of all that?
I once again, I think it's perspective of me as an out-of-state resident that would have to go and make a trip out of it versus if I was a local. It definitely breaks the magic, right? That term is thrown around so much with Disney.
Yeah, you know what else breaks the magic is $600 on my credit card that I wasn't expecting to happen. But,
Yeah,
that's
well,
a different topic.
So if I'm paying $120 a person a day
right.
to get in, and times 4 to get in and go in, and that's my experience at the Haunted Mansion. And yes, I do get to ride it. I mean, so that experience doesn't change. And once I'm sitting in the Doom buggy, then it's the same ride.
Yeah, but well, is it like now you're worrying through the whole ride? Do they sanitize this thing enough?
Well, that's
and you got your
what's
mask,
going through my head.
Well,
sure,
you're not alone. I would be the same. I'd be the same way. And then you got a mask on, and your kids are perfect and angels, but mine would be like, ugh, I need to take this mask off. We'd be fighting about it the whole time.
Yeah.
So I see this and I go, this is not. And what's interesting is I think because you're smart. I think I have finally seen what you saw a long time ago where you said, but do you want to go in with this, okay, you can, they're going to open it up.
Sure.
But is that really what you want? And I look at this and I go, no. Like,
right.
I'm just literally a couple miles away. And I'm like, I mentioned to you for the first time in 20 years, I canceled our annual passes just because I can't see us.
It's crazy.
You think I'm crazy? Well, tell me what.
No, it's crazy to think that it's gotten to that point where you have, this is not a great promotion for Disney. I know they're trying to spin it that, they're opening and everything's hunky dory and it's all clean and it's going to run smoothly and everything else. And that's great. But the reality as a guest and where I want to spend my money and my time and my effort and, what kind of experience am I really going to have? Right. And you talk about they are limiting the number of people that go in, like drastically limiting it. But even with that, there's still, with the social distancing, with them not loading every row of every ride vehicle, of them not having theater shows, of them, there's a lot of restaurants that simply aren't even going to be open. Mm-hmm. Do I really, even though I could do that, I mean, do I want to do that? And my time in line isn't going to change drastically because they're reducing the capacity on the rides themselves. Right. I still have to wait for 10 boats for It's a Small World before I can get on because they're only loading 2 rows in on each boat.
Yeah.
So there's no way I would make a trip out of it. Yeah. Like, there's no way. But if I was a local, I would do it for the novelty of it. I was going to say
that that's kind of the only thing I'd really like to go see with it is just like to have been there during that time. But then I think,
sure,
so what? Like, I mean,
right.
Am I going to look back 20 years from now and go like, hey, that was neat? Or is it going to be like, yeah, that was just bizarre? Well, so let me,
and I think that's what you're seeing real quick. I think that's what you're seeing with, especially in social media. I mean, these people that's their livelihood. So they're going to put the best face on it. That they can, and I'm talking about the vloggers and the influencers and all that. Yeah. So this first wave,
and presumably these are the most passionate of the groups of people, right?
Sure.
They're the people that work there, or they are the people that that like you said, the vloggers or whatever. That's their passion anyway. So yeah, I get that.
So this first week or two, that's all you're going to see is rave reviews and everything's so perfect.
So nice
awesome
to be back in the parks
else.
And
yeah, sure, and it is. I mean, it's nice to know that they're open.
Maybe,
but give it a couple weeks, and people are back at their normal routine, back at work, and they can't make it out to the parks, and then they're relying on the actual visitor, out of town visitors to try to make up that the attendance for the parks, with more and more states, enacting 14-day quarantines on people who return from trips from Florida right now, where they can't go back to work for 14 days after they return.
Right.
It's, I don't know. I don't know. We're already seeing it with Universal that they're starting to lay people off. I think the reality is that once this first wave of a couple weeks wears off, I think that's going to be the new normal for a little while.
Yeah.
Until there's a vaccine or cure.
Yeah, and I'll preface my next statement by saying I am definitely not anti-mask. I think masks are one of the cheapest, easiest things that we can do as a society to help stop the spread of this thing. So don't take my next statement as that. But I do, if they kept everything exactly the same as it is now, but we didn't have to wear masks, I think I'd be totally for it. It's just, for me, that's that tipping point of like, to have to go around for an hour, 2, 3 in the hot Florida humidity with a mask on just seems like torture. But
and if I'm going as a guest and I'm staying in their resorts and I'm going the full day, that's a full day of mask wearing.
Yeah,
it's it's not like a local goes for a couple hours and leaves and can take it off and it's you're right. I mean, the mask, it does the whole experience. That's part of it, and it definitely is. It would be uncomfortable in the 100-degree heat of Florida in the summer.
And with kids that, at least in my family, I know would not, that would not be fun for them, and there'd be lots of complaints. It just seems like they're like, okay, well, what other than the novelty of like, hey, we're here, and part of me wants to. I'm thinking about going back and just reactivating my personal pass, just so I can go in and take some photos and kind of like say I've been there. But that's more like I want to be a photojournalist in a war zone than go enjoy the parks. Is more what that's like. But
I will say there would be no way on the planet that I would ever even consider visiting any park without the mask mandate, though.
No, of course.
Of course. Everybody needs to be wearing the mask now, but it's my choice of if I don't want to wear the mask, then I don't go.
Right.
It's either or. It's there should be no option of going to the park and not wearing a mask. I mean, that in Disney and Universal and SeaWorld, everybody should never even consider that.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And what I find interesting for me anyway is that like I've seen these pictures, and even the ones Disney has done, which I saw that came out today, like the professionally shot, they look like the ones that they're out of they look like how do I put this? They look like the classic Disney, photos of people just having a great time in the park, and happy, and the light is just perfect and it looks great, except everybody has a mask. And the one thing I think they made a huge mistake on, I think anyway, personally, there's a few in there that show cast members with, I don't know what it's called, but that face shield kind of PPE thing.
Yeah.
That, like the mask, the cloth mask, you can kind of be like, okay, it almost looks, I don't know, a little quaint in some way, especially if they have Disney characters on them or whatever. It was the pictures of the people with the plexiglass face masks, the face guards that was just, I saw those and went, nope, not for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know, because it's just not. It's so out of the norm, right? I don't know. It's like just the material. It just seems so. I don't know, like hospitalish or something. It just really, they'd be like, wow, that really breaks the magic for me right there.
You see, I actually think the opposite. I kind of
Really?
like that because you can see the person's full face, and
Yeah, I'm sure that's.
you can see their, if they're smiling at you, when I talk to somebody face to face, I look at their lips. And
What kind of bizarre are you?
No, I do, and I never look at anybody in their eye.
You're supposed to look at the middle of people's foreheads, don't you know that?
I don't even do that. I look at people's mouths because I want to. It's like a double. I want to make sure.
Well,
understanding what they're
it's
saying.
interesting. People have noticed like they're hearing people less because they're learning how much we use visual cues for language. But
So I know when I wear a mask, I talk loud. I find myself talking louder because I think that the person is doing the same thing and trying to read my lips and can't see them. So I speak louder so they do understand
like
me.
that old SNL skit with the for the hard of hearing. Remember that one?
Oh, I don't.
No,
but
I got to educate you.
think.
Anyway, yeah, I find I use hand gestures a lot more, like to.
Oh yeah.
like,
Well, I use them. too
Well,
when
that's.
driving.
I'm not talking about when you're driving. I'm talking about-
Okay. But the face shield, I will say that one thing I know that Universal has done, and I'm going to assume that Disney's going to do too, is at first when Universal first opened, if you refused to wear a mask, they would still let you in the park and give you a wristband to let cast members know that, hey, they're not wearing a mask and we know about it, and just let them be or something like that, right?
That shouldn't be.
they've done away with that,
Yeah,
and
okay.
so the option now is you don't want to wear a face mask. That's fine. You have to wear a face shield.
Yeah, as we're talking about it, I think I'm realizing what it is that bothers me about it. To me, my association with that is pictures and video. When you're gonna have to bleep this out, but there's no other way for me to express this.
Mhm.
When the shit has really hit the fan, meaning like there's an Ebola outbreak, or
Yeah,
they're
hazmat
dealing.
suit.
Yeah, exactly. So
Sure.
that just, to me, that just like, this is bad. Like, it just, for me, it's just like, it's like seeing police tape up somewhere. Like if they put police tape up
Yeah.
in the park, they'd be like, it just, the reaction is like, this is not good. It's not a good scene. The cloth face mask is kind of like, especially like I said, the characters on or whatever, it just seems a little more like, a little laid back. Okay, we're just doing this thing. I think that's the difference for me.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely jarring when you see somebody wearing that, but it's an option. I mean, there needs to be some kind of covering.
Yeah, no. I'm not arguing that at all. I'm just saying what my reaction to
my point really was to say that I applaud Universal for doing that and not just letting people not wear something that they actually say, okay, that's fine. You don't have to wear a cloth face mask or a paper face mask. Your other option is wearing a face shield, and you can breathe normally.
Yeah, I was going to say, for those that say it bothers their breathing, I guess that would help with that. Yeah, and maybe over time I'll have less of a kind of visceral reaction to it. But did you? I saw news today that Disney is not allowing, I can't remember what they're called, gator masks. They're those sort of cloth things that go like over your mouth and nose, but like down to your neck, or whatever. I didn't see. I know what their ruling is, which is basically, the ruling is it has to be fastened around your head or ears, and those are not specifically.
Yeah.
But I can't. Do you know why they're specifically have an issue with those?
Yeah, I can tell you from firsthand. So I ordered some of those because I've seen actually one of the vloggers I watch. He's been wearing one, and he's tried out. In a couple of his videos, he's tried out different face masks. So he went with a paper face mask, he went with a cloth one, and he went with this neck gaiter one.
Right.
And the benefit of the neck gaiter one is that it's there's a place in front of your nose and mouth that you can insert a paper filter.
Okay.
But the rest of it is a very thin cloth. And it does cover your neck, but the side benefit of it, and you've probably seen these before, people like, lawn maintenance, or, people cutting grass and stuff, they wear them around their necks because as you sweat, it cools you down.
Okay.
And so he was experiencing that as well. And, that was his preferred face covering, is the neck gaiter, because it's the one that keeps him the coolest, and it doesn't bother him. However, it's simply a round piece of material, right? You put it over your head, and it hangs around your
it's
neck,
just like
and then
you
you pull it up over your nose.
Right.
But the problem is, as soon as you start talking, it slides down your nose because it's not really fastened.
Got it. Okay.
And the only way you can do that is if you put it really up over your ears to keep it up. But even then, it's still not. And so what he did, he actually cut ear holes into it.
Okay.
But it secured it way better, and he's been using it like that.
Well, that would fit the rules, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's what. So I've seen some people, yesterday and today talking about it, and that's what they're doing, is they're cutting ear holes in it so that it's secured.
Yeah.
But they can still wear it.
I don't know why ear holes just sounds funny to me. This is a funny word.
I know.
Yeah, I don't envy the cast members that are going to have to try and enforce this. And did I read somewhere they're going to have like a crack team of commandos or something of cast members?
Absolutely.
This is their only job, is to go hunt down people without masks and take them down.
Yeah, they've promoted that for a while now.
Yeah.
They'll be doing that and cleaning out, the railings and stuff outside. But yes, they're going to be roving, groups of
Speaking of cleaning, how about the attraction vehicles themselves? Are they? I know they're spacing people out, but we talked
Yeah.
before all the plans are in place here. Like, would they wipe down every ride vehicle between people?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do we have any info on that?
Yeah, we do. So I saw a video today of the video shows at It's a Small World, two guys. So they're only loading 2 rows, and so one, the group left the boat, and they come in with they look like you put your weed killer in.
Oh yeah, those little sprayers.
The little spray, and they spray the whole seat down.
Yeah.
So they're doing that once an hour.
Okay. Yeah, what
So
nobody
it's not
knows is
after.
there's just there's water fountain water in those. That's all they have.
Probably, but they're not doing it after every group. They're only
See, and
doing it once an hour.
that would skeeve me out. Like, I would just know, like, okay, I'm wearing this mask, I'm
agree.
going through all this stuff, but somebody just and I think Casey Liss, when he was here, he mentioned that kind of scenario. Like, some other person was just sweating right here where I'm like sitting
That's
now,
right.
and like, I don't know, that's all I'd be thinking about. Is like, do I have the Rona now?
Well, and they're loading the exact same rows for every boat, so it's rows like 1 and 5.
Why wouldn't they? Shouldn't they alternate?
And so they're not rotating that. That's the ones that they're loading. So you are sitting in the seat that the person in front of you just had gotten out of.
Yeah. See, you're not helping the situation. But no. So here's the thing. This is interesting. You tell me what you think of this from a psychological standpoint. So I've seen all this with Disney, and I'm like, nope. In fact, I called them up and, can you cancel my passes? And to their credit, they were just like, sure, okay. They didn't give me. It wasn't like trying to cancel a cable subscription or something, and or newspaper. Hey now. Where was I going with this? Oh, but and I've been talking to you about Universal, and even though they have a lot of the same kind of rules, I'm actually kind of interested to go to Universal just because there'd be nobody there, and we haven't been there. So I guess it's just because, like, one is a starting point of I have way less than I would normally experience, and the other is, like, I haven't been to Universal in so long. Like, I have no preconceived ideas of how I'd spend my time there. But for whatever reason, that I'm actually, like, we're probably going to go, like, in a couple of weeks, go to Universal for my son's birthday, go see some Harry Potter stuff. So I don't know. What does that say about me? Am I just a lunatic? What does that mean?
No, I don't think it is. And so I think the difference is that, one, Universal's been open for about 5 or 6 weeks now, so they've they have the value of experience, so they know what to do. Like I said, they changed their policy on face masks, that everybody has to have some kind of face covering. So that's good. They have changed some of their lines, where they had some of the switchbacks where you would actually wait right next to another person because they didn't think of that at first.
Mm-hmm.
They've gone back and redone where everybody's going to stand. So I think they just have the benefit of having been open longer. So that's good. And then the other part is it's empty. It's well documented that it's empty. And so just, naturally you're not going to have a lot of other people around to deal with. So I don't think I think it's slightly different. I think Disney will do a better job of enforcing things, of cleaning, but I think Universal will be just maybe half a step behind that.
Yeah, I could see that.
But Disney will also be more crowded, and Disney has the additional speed bump of getting people into certain parks, like Magic Kingdom, right? You park way far away.
Thanks, Walt.
You still have to get on another mode of transportation with a bunch of other people to get to the final destination of the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, actually, we talked about that. What are they running the monorail? What are they doing?
I haven't seen anybody take the monorail yet. I've seen pictures of the ferry boat, and they have dots on the ferry boat where you and your party are supposed to stand. So
You're like, that's gonna work.
it's not. That's what I'm saying. Like, who's gonna?
Especially on the
you
ferry.
know-
I don't know why, but for some reason on the ferry, that just seems like completely lost cause. I can see it in a queue somewhere for a ride, but yeah, I can't see it.
Yeah. So it's just another obstacle to that they have to overcome.
Yeah.
Whether
Yeah,
it's
that's true.
the Skyliner or the monorail or the ferry boat or the bus. The buses are running, and
I saw that they have like zones or something inside.
they
the
have
thing.
numbers on the seats, and then the bus driver tells you what number to sit in.
Yeah, as if buses weren't bad enough already.
Oh, right.
But you know what? Still better than the monorail, I think. For some reason, the monorail just seems like will you get in here with the virus, and we're just going to close you in, okay? It's like a
Right.
space capsule with the virus in there. with you.
Recirculate the air.
Exactly. I mean, it's not the freshest place even
It's
without worrying
not.
about a virus.
No kidding.
So yeah, I think the other thing too is like going to Disney, my family would have some basis of a comparison, and I'd just be
Yeah.
stressing out over can we go do X, and be like, well, no, X, that's closed, or whatever,
Yeah.
we can't do it. Well, why do we have to do this? It's just too much comparison. We have no such basis of knowledge for Universal, so it's just like whatever it is,
True.
it is. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's just easier for me, I guess, is what it comes down to. All right. Yeah, so I canceled my passes. The first time in 20 years I haven't had active
That's wild.
annual passes. But I can't. I mean, we're spending, I don't know, hundreds of dollars a month for, we haven't been because they've been on hold. But because I just can't see. Plus, it's hot this time of year. We don't go a lot during the summer anyway.
Yeah.
And I don't think we'd go back until, and I don't know if you've heard, but there's kind of peak virus activity here in Florida right now. So
What?
yeah, my wife and I talked about it. We're like, realistically, would we go back before October? And we're like,
Yeah.
no, probably not. So
Right.
we just figured, well, let's put them on hold and we'll renew them later. So
Yeah.
I don't know. But are they charging people now? Do you know? I mean, I know they're charging.
Oh, yeah.
They had that snafu where they're just randomly
Yeah.
charging people, which is awesome.
Yeah.
They still haven't reimbursed me, by the way. I don't know if I told you.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Like, that should have been
$800. Like, it's not
Right.
it's not a small amount of money. So
No.
and I'm still, and I called them to cancel our passes, and they're having a
Mhm.
recording saying, we know we had these charges and we're working to reverse them. I'm like, why is this taking so long? Just,
Right. It's just a file. Just
right,
reverse
just
it.
right.
Like,
Make all the positives negative and the negatives positive.
I mean, right. It's not that tough.
I mean, I don't know much about computers, but it seems kind of easy. So I don't know. Anything else going on with tickets? I mean, they're going to start charging again because they've been holding
They
off.
started already.
Oh, they did? What? Okay.
Mhm.
Well, good. Well,
Yeah.
glad they're not charging me then. I mean, anymore.
Yeah, they yep, they've reset everybody's, because they were going to extend everybody for the amount of time that they were closed.
Right.
Extend everybody's and that might be why yours, you said you went on the website and it looked like yours was still active. Yours might still be active because your expired date, even though you stopped paying, your expired date might be out further.
Really? I thought that was only if you continued to pay. You had a choice of either keep paying and you extend your expiration. Do I have that right? Or am I backwards?
I don't know. I mean,
Or stop paying.
because they stopped charging.
They stopped charging me. Right. The default was without
I
any
got you,
action was that they
okay.
stopped charging you. So yeah,
Yeah.
in my case, it was still going to end at the same time. But
Yeah.
they just weren't charging me. If you wanted to, you could keep paying, and then they would add time for whatever time they were closed.
Yeah, so I'm thinking of it as when I bought, because I don't have any monthly option. I have to shell out all my money.
Okay, yeah.
Right then, when I buy the tickets, and-
yeah, it's expensive. We know.
No. What I'm saying is so I have a year from first use,
Yeah.
and then so for those people, they extended
Right.
it. So
'Cause they've
even
already
if
paid,
you,
right.
yeah, so if you don't renew or whatever, you're still extended out.
Right.
So okay, or
Yeah, a little
that makes sense.
different depending on
Yep.
monthly.
Okay,
Right?
I got you.
Yeah. So it makes me sad. I just recently I'm looking at this. I'm like I can't justify paying this for whatever. So
Yeah,
we'll see if I stick to it. But that's the plan right now anyway. So
yeah.
all right, what else you want to talk about?
They're starting the tomorrow on July 9th. They are going to resume taking reservations for hotels and open up ticket sales again.
How about mini golf? I asked you the other day when that was going to. I didn't even think about that. And
I still
my
don't have an
family and
answer on that.
we're talking about mini golf. We're like, hey, actually, my son brought it up. He's like, because he has no recollection last time we took him. And he's like, we should go do that. I'm like, yeah, that would be fun. That seems socially distanceable, right? Just make sure you dip the what do they call those? The clubs in a big vat of Purell. And but no, they're not open yet. So I guess we haven't. I'm sure it's not high on anybody's priority list except mine. But yeah, whatever. But Pirates Cove on iDrive is open, in case you're wondering. If you want,
is it?
If you want to go mini golfing, you can.
Cool.
You can
That's
go down.
actually, I've been to the one at the Crossroads. I don't know that I've been to the one on iDrive.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Huh.
Now you have a reason to come down.
Yeah. So some of the changes with the opening, you obviously need a reservation to, not just a ticket, but you need a ticket and a reservation to enter the park. There's no park hopping right now. There's no fast pass, and no dining plans. So when you go to book a trip right now, you can't even buy a dining plan. So there's no free dining plan or anything like that.
No.
So that's all gone away right now. And but I also have in here a note. I see it as a insane benefit. It looks like they're going to keep it for good. There's no more bag check.
I don't understand this. So explain to me.
So
here we are. We're going to let everybody mask up and come in, and we're not going to check what they're carrying. So that just seems like a ripe opportunity for a lunatic to come in and cause pain and misery for a lot of people. So
that's right.
What's the justification for no bag check?
So they're still going to check bags. They're going to check everything.
Wait a minute. You just told me no bag check.
So there's no more manual bag check by humans.
Okay.
So they're going to send people through new artificial intelligence security checkpoints.
Okay. What does that mean?
So you're basically going to go through a metal detector that's looking just for weapons. So for guns and knives. So if you go through and there's going to be security people with tablets, and the tablets are connected to the thing you're going to walk through. And I'll post a link to this in the show notes so you can see what I'm actually talking about. So you walk through, and if it goes off, there's not going to be an alarm or anything like that. Security guard will come over to you with their tablet and say, we need to do a targeted check of your bag. And they will look specifically in one area of your bag that they got the reading on. And they'll take a quick look. And if there's no weapon in there, then they're going to let you go through.
So what's the AI part of this? How does that factor in?
So it's the Evolve Express system.
Yeah.
So it's some new technology that uses advanced sensors and machine learning to automatically screen for concealed weapons on all employees, contractors, and visitors entering the parks.
I see the page you have here. They got a lot of detail here, and even diagrams, which seems awesome.
Yeah.
And video. Look at that. Sure, this looks like something that was coming regardless. This is not virus related.
Yeah.
This was in the works anyway. This seems like a big switch.
I agree, but it's also touch free. So there's nobody. It can handle 60 people per minute. So people just will walk through at, I guess, a normal pace. And then they will just deal with the people who they get the feedback on.
Be like, freeze, sucker.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's nothing in these things except blinking lights, right? This is just a placebo. There's
right, of course.
There's nothing in here.
Of course, I don't care.
This is just so they don't have to have somebody touching somebody's bag. Is all this amounts to. This is just like, blinking lights. Everything's working fine. Wow, this seems like something. Seems like such a giant switch to do all at once. Like it seems like something we would have seen sort of peppered in normal times, but these are not normal times.
Yeah.
So,
well, I don't know if you probably haven't seen. They actually have been doing construction. They have started construction at the parks for new entrances for for all of them. Epcot, Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom is the last one to have it done. Hollywood Studios is pretty much done, but they have been planning the security, at least the security area changes for a while now. And I think you're right. I think this has been in the works for a long time, because that has been one of the pain points for people to, and it ruins the magic of people entering the park, of having to wait, because that was a longer wait than actually getting into the park, through the turnstiles.
Right.
You had to, and it, let's be honest, it depended on what security guard you got.
Yeah.
Either you got one that went through every single item in your bag, to, you get the next one and they
No.
maybe glance inside.
Unless you're with me, and it's always the one that has to check
Well,
every single pocket of every bag.
Me too.
That's my luck.
Me too.
Okay.
So, I'm sure, as a guy who carries a lot of photography equipment, I'm sure that it's going to set something off somewhere in there, and I'm sure I'll still be pulled aside to look in my bag, but I don't know, maybe not, maybe. But,
I'm really curious what the AI part of this. I got to look into this a little bit more, but that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. Well, and it says here it's been in use at Hershey Park already. So I mean, if it's good enough for Hershey Park, it's good enough for me.
Right.
So I like candy.
Absolutely.
I like candy bars.
Me too.
Okay.
Speaking of the elephant in the room, thanks.
Wow, you're really sensitive about this.
Bring it back, man.
Yeah, good.
Full circle.
Good segue. Have you ever been to Hershey Park? I don't think you have, right?
I have not.
Yeah,
No,
me either.
I would like to go.
Yeah, me too. All right. Well, and we can start a new show. That's just about Hershey Park, I guess.
Awesome.
All right. That's fascinating. See, now I want to go just to see these things, just to. 'Cause I'm
Right?
curious what the AI machine learning whatever is about this. So, okay.
Even if I'm pulled aside, I just think this is going to speed up that whole process.
obviously,
and
that's
that's
the
what
whole-
I'm more excited about
Yeah.
over anything.
That's the whole intent, right? So,
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder what this will do, because we still have little kids or we just left the stroller age, but what that does with like stroller families and stuff, because that takes a lot of time, right? What's in the basket below it, and
Yeah, and I think they'll just roll through, and if it doesn't spot a gun or knife, then okay.
It's a metal detector. Well, I'll look into it, but
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
the only reason I say that is
I'm-
because it's been news recently for some other thing. I can't remember why, about like plastic 3D printed guns. Which if it's just metal detecting, then it would miss that. But
It would, and I think that's probably it. Could be, it could be what is it, the scatter? Like it's actually looking for objects
Right.
and shapes.
Right.
That's kind of what it sounds
yeah,
like.
actually, you're probably right. Yeah,
Like a radar or something in there that's
Okay.
looking for stuff.
I could see that. Okay. Well, I'm gonna look at that. That's fascinating. Thanks for putting that in there.
Because that's a good point. Because
Yeah, and surely I'm not that smart, and surely other people have thought of that. But
I would hope so.
it surprises me that, and maybe it shouldn't. It surprised me a little bit that like we haven't seen these in more places, because not that people are traveling now, but well, actually, first of all, it's sad that we even have to consider this. But
I know.
but that aside, like what am I trying to say? Like for Disney to be kind of like at the vanguard of security technology seems, I don't know.
Well,
it seems
I
both
mean,
sensible and risky at the same time. So I don't know.
I mean, you kind of joke about that, but in reality, I mean, wouldn't that be a huge prize for
Yeah, of course.
a terrorist to attack? Is Disney World? I mean, Disney World really should have the most advanced.
Well, but that's kind of what I'm saying. Is not, but if it's got to be proven though, right? It's. I guess that's what I'm saying is like, and I'm sure they must have a lot of data to show its effectiveness, but you wouldn't want to gamble on this. Is kind of my point. So you would almost think it would be, and maybe Hershey Park is the thing, like where the trial data would come from, and you go, okay, well that it's good enough. That's good. All I know is I still can't fly a drone near Disney World, so they're safe. They're safe from my.
You still can't.
They're safe from my little 1 pound, my little 1 pound drone. Oh, let me tell you, I've been emailing the drone company support line, and
Really?
yeah, because for those who haven't been following along, the real quick of it is I live in an area that is within the. It's not technically a no-fly zone. It's a flight restricted zone. where technically you can't fly anything around. And it's been kind of a blanket, like nothing can fly. So like drones can't take off and it's in this restricted zone because the zones have GPS. They know where they're at. And they're like, well, nope, can't fly. But it looks like they've gotten a little more subtle with these, and drones below a certain weight class are, in their little map, it shows it as only authorization needed, not restricted, which basically means like through their software platform, you can kind of say, hey, here's my phone number. This is me. If I crash into Cinderella Castle, you can repaint it its natural color, and then I'll pay for it, right? But no, the drone's still like, nope, not taking off. And it's so sad because it takes off like 10 feet, and it just hangs there, and then it goes, nope, going back down, and just a little red lights flash, and then that's it. It just grounds itself, and it won't go. So sad. But the drone I have is this little tiny thing that is specifically made to be exactly like 1 ounce under the limit for certain regulations with the FAA.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it's just some sort of data problem that I'm working with them to see if we can work out. But anyway, nobody cares about that but me. But I'm working on it.
I do.
But I'm working on it. Cool. All right. Well, now I want to go just see those security things. It sounds interesting.
Yeah, no kidding.
Cool. All right.
I didn't know about any of that until today.
Oh, really? Yeah. Hot news.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What else you got? What other fascinating tech news?
The only other thing I had was really the college program. The only reason I have it in here is because I did the college program.
Right.
It's been suspended indefinitely, which makes perfect sense.
Of course.
So,
I mean,
especially for the international students.
Sure.
And then just general, since we're talking about reopening, the NBA and Major League Soccer will both play out the rest of their seasons at Disney in their bubble. So that's going to start.
What do you mean
up
by
at
in
the
their
end of the month.
in their bubble? What do you mean?
Well, so they have the NBA players staying at specific hotels.
Oh, okay.
On Disney,
so
at Disney,
okay.
and they're practicing in the convention centers of the hotels.
Yeah, I didn't even know this was going to be a thing that was happening. I saw just a couple of days ago some
Yeah.
photos that they set up some courts in. I think I saw Coronado Springs,
Yeah.
which makes sense. I mean, there's no conventions happening, so you might as well use
Correct.
that space for something that helps things, I guess.
Yep. So, and then they'll play at the wide world of sports and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'll be kind of interested to see how it goes. I think it's
Are these games with
Probably
With fans? Sorry to interrupt. Are these games with fans or just the players?
no,
Yeah. Okay.
no. Everybody, even the sportscasters are in the bubble.
Oh, wow.
So, they can't. They essentially can't. Yeah, they're very controlled, and they're all taking tests every day and all that good stuff. And so I think it's the best. They're doing it the best way that they possibly can.
Yeah, sure.
Better than baseball is going to be starting up here soon, and
Yeah, they're doing like a shorter 60 games.
but they're going to be playing in their own stadiums
Right.
with no bubble, or it's
Right.
just they're going to be traveling and all, and I can't see how that's going to when one of the stars gets it and gets sick and has to be sidelined for until he recovers. I don't know.
Is there some?
I just think it's
Is there something different between the sports? I mean, I guess the fields are bigger for baseball than they are for NBA, obviously, and soccer, I think.
yeah.
So is
I
that
guess.
do you think that why the difference?
I guess, but I mean, like if you're on first base and you're talking to the first baseman, I don't know.
No, I didn't mean it for that. I meant more that it's more feasible to kind of do basketball in an offsite thing because you can kind of stand up these arenas
true.
where you
Yes,
can't.
yes,
You
yeah,
need
sure.
you need a lot bigger stadium for a baseball game than you do for soccer. I think than you do for
yes,
soccer.
that's a great point. Yeah.
and basketball.
Yeah, they had originally talked about doing a bubble where they would be split up into Arizona and Florida, and they would just stay at their
Yeah, I
spring
remember that,
training
right.
facilities and everything else, and but that didn't go.
Can't they just have
anywhere,
everybody
so-
play at Cracker Jack Stadium? Because I love that place. Just have it all play there.
That would be awesome,
Yeah.
right? That would be.
Everybody gets a home run.
Yeah, exactly. And then football. Who knows what the heck's going to happen?
They're
in
still doing.
football,
That's still a
so.
thing. I figured. I was hoping they'd just cancel that.
It's still a thing.
How about your beloved motorsports? How's that going?
Oh my God, this weekend was the greatest weekend of the year. To geek out for a second. So all of the major motorsports types of motorsports had a race this weekend. So it started with Indy. They were at Indianapolis at the Indy Motor Speedway, but they were on the road course, which was awesome because it was the road course. And then later in the day, they had an IMSA race, which Chris and I go to the Rolex 24 at Daytona in January. We went this past January too. But that's the only race that they've had this year. And so they re-kicked off their season back at Daytona for a 2-hour, 40-minute race. So that was really cool to see them back on track. And then the next day they had an F1 race in Austria, which was actually, I don't know if you had a chance to watch that or not, but it turned out to be a great race. Pretty exciting. And then later in the day they had the Brickyard 400 for NASCAR at Indy. So they had IndyCar and NASCAR first time ever at the same track the same weekend. So
cool.
And that was so that NBC wouldn't have to, they could
just keep their setup.
Broadcast everything from one place. Yeah. So it worked out pretty good.
Everybody's learning how to adjust, I guess. And auto racing is one of those sports where there's no real physical contact, and you can, everybody's in their own car. Everybody's already wearing helmets anyway.
Wearing a helmet, exactly. So
yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I've got some races to catch up on. I've got them recorded. I'm hoping to get back to watch a couple. So great. Sports. I don't know. We'll see where that goes, but auto racing is back. So now I'm not. As you know, I'm not a huge sports fan. Do you? This has nothing to do with Disney. I'm just curious now. I think I know the answer. My question was going to be kind of along the lines of, like, in light of everything happening, do people care as much that sports is happening, or is everybody like they are with Disney in that we're like, they got to get their football because that's just we need normal times? Is that what's your sense on that?
Yeah, I think that's it. Unfortunately, I think that people are really here in Louisiana, one of the state senators proposed yesterday that high schools cancel all of their fall sports.
Oh my God. That's
oh my God is right, because people like
Friday Night Lights, man. What are we going to do?
He would have gotten off better if he had held up a puppy and shot it on live TV, because I mean, people went crazy.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's not the word I was going to say, but they went crazy, man.
Yeah.
And but that's the reality. I don't know how they're going to
you can't do that.
Protect these students, especially high school students.
Which then has this whole ripple effect, though, of like, if I'm great at a sport, and probably the only chance of me getting to a really good college is through some sort of scholarship or something, what does that do to my, to the rest of my life, kind of thing?
That's a great question. But it ripples. You're right. It ripples up to the college, because the college, they have seniors who are waiting to be drafted by the NFL. And, and this is their last chance to show what they can do. And, so, and then for NFL, I mean, are they going to play? Are they going to get paid? Are they, so it does ripple all the way through. And, I just, man, I don't know how schools are going to operate at all this coming fall. I mean, we don't even know that.
This has been such a point of angst in my house lately, so it's probably best if we don't discuss it.
Well, us too, as we're getting closer. So I think Florida probably starts around the same time as Louisiana.
August 10th, I think.
So it's early in August. Right. And so, as we're inching closer, we're about a month out. Right. We're just starting to get trickles of what the schools are starting to think about, and and expect if when the students come back. But the reality is, I don't know. If you think it through and think of all these kids that are going to this one place in these classrooms, back to your point, is all the kids, are they all going to wear their masks all day? And what happens to the teachers? And they're not in any kind of bubble. They go home and they on the weekends they go to parties and they come back on Monday and who knows what people have caught and not caught. And I don't know, man. I think I was talking about it to my wife and daughter tonight. In my mind, I think we just write off 2020 and we just lock down and we, stay at home. We do school from home for at least through December. Hopefully we, the trend goes down, or we have a vaccine that's available, or we have better ideas of how to, cure people better than we do today. And then, we aim for a January restart of school in the classroom, and, maybe masks are involved, whatever. I don't know. But I just think we write off the rest of this year and we say, okay, 2020 is, it is what it is.
Unfortunately,
give us a little more time, but I don't know.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we got some people, who are nominally running things that, they have desires to have it seem more normal than that. So they're pushing it forward.
Yeah,
so.
I know. I'm well aware of that.
And even beside that though, and because there have been other organizations and I don't know exactly what their name is, but something, National Pediatrics, blah, 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 whatever. Like the people that, give guidelines for kids and stuff. And there is a lot of merit that says, that for kids' sake, they do need to kind of get back to school and stuff too. But you just look at what the overall impact to society is. It just seemed like, because the nature of a school, it just seems like that is, anybody who has a kid knows that as soon as your kid hits school age, you're getting every disease is coming home, right? Every flu, everything. That's just, that is, that's how it rolls. So I don't know how, I don't know how you do it. And in my son's school, it's a Montessori school. So they combine grades. So and they're like double, triple size classrooms, but in one classroom they have 36 kids of 3 different grades and a few teachers. So, because their whole thing is about being, helping each other and working together. And, that's sort of like it's not one of the schools where they're just sitting in a desk and they can just put one of these plexiglass cubes over them. So I don't know what they're going to do, but.
Yeah. And you are right. And that's, not to get too personal, but that was a topic of discussion tonight was, my kids really want to see their friends and it is affecting them because they can't. We've held them. They haven't seen them since they started homeschooling, if you will. They've seen them a couple times here and there for short periods, but they're not getting that regular physical interaction with them that they need. And my daughter's in high school, and those are formative years of her life, and I think all of her friends are going through the same thing, they're it's such a tough thing because they do need that outside contact with their friends. And the other thing is, man, we are going way down a rabbit hole, but I think it's interesting and important. But so let's say we do, I'm going back on what I just said. Let's say we do say, okay, everybody homeschool until January. Well, people have to get back to work,
right?
Like people are okay for summer. They're they're dealing with it, whatever. But they're hoping that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and the kids can go back to school. They can get back to a regular schedule. And there was just an article in the New York Times that I read that basically talked through this whole thing. What do we do? Because it's almost like you have a choice of either you have a job. Or you don't, and you have to care for your kids,
or homeschool them, right?
Or homeschool them, but you're giving up like an adult salary to do that. And it's like, well, is that really like, is that where we are? Like, is that what we're doing? And so you're talking about reduced income for people, and it's just it's an awful. I am luckily, I am. My kids are older, and so if I had to go into the office, if my wife had to go into the office, they could just sit at home and do their schoolwork. But kids the kids that are not your age, but
my kid's age. Yes.
Thank you. Your kid's age. I mean, you can't do that. You can't just let
No, we got to run school.
Your son at home
no. That's what we're doing now, and it's not a good scene. Let me tell you,
it's not working, right?
Yeah, he gets a lot of Roblox time in, so that's good. He's getting pretty good at that.
Oh my God. So, there are many, many issues, and none of the decisions are easy. But I mean, what do you do? What do we do? I don't know.
It's going to be.
I don't know. I'm shocked that Disney's opening. I'll just throw that to bring it back.
I was going to ask you that.
I am shocked that they are still going through with the opening in mid-July as Florida is having 10,000 new cases a day.
Yeah, I'm shocked at that too, and I've tried to rationalize it. And part of it I could see, from their standpoint of saying, well, when is it going to be better? I mean, when is a better time to we don't know, because we could get through one wave and then another wave comes, and so at some point, you just have to, from their standpoint, again, people, they employ a lot of people, and I'm sure there's a lot of pressure from Orange County and from the state that you guys got to open, you got to get people employed, you got to get them working. So it's no easy decisions anywhere, but I'm a little surprised they didn't at least say we're going to push back 2 weeks or something. I don't know what that would have done.
I'm not exactly. Yeah. I'm not saying push back till,
because Disneyland did, right? Didn't they change their planned opening date? Yeah,
they're going to open the 17th.
Right.
Right. But yeah, California enacted, and they're like, oh, okay, we're going to push off a little bit longer. And they still haven't announced any kind of date yet.
Right.
So
I don't know why. I don't know why those dynamics are so different between those. But maybe the governor of the state.
Yeah, that is a huge. One might be. That I know. That's absolutely the reason.
Yeah, but it's just. I mean, I don't know. Does Disney care about the governor of Florida? I mean, they have more power than
they
he
care
does.
about money.
Well, sure,
they care about money, and they, if the governor of Florida says you can open up, then and you write the rules, then let's not forget that he pretty much said, hey, you are going to you're going to submit your plans to us, but you're going to write them. And we'll just approve them or not approve them.
Here's our rubber stamp if you could just take care of that for us.
Exactly. And so that's what happened in Florida. But California is vastly different. It's a different environment. And so Disney said, sure, we're Universal, they went in the back room, both of them together, and said, yeah, that looks good. Let's do this. And they're doing the same thing.
And perhaps even if a little less cynical about it, because you're that way. But, I'm sure they have their own doctors. I was going to use a fancy word, but it's late. So I'm sure they have their own medical science people that maybe they've looked at this and said, look, even though things are not great in Florida now, the risk to people of it is because of these, constraints we put in place in terms of distancing and masks and everything, like the end result may not be too different in that sense. I don't know. I'm not saying that is the case, but I'm wondering if that's, be like, well, the risk goes from a 10% to a 12%, and it's just like, that doesn't matter so much. I don't know, just guessing. Yeah. But surely they've had these conversations internally. But I won't be there at least now. We'll see next time we record. Let's see when the next time we record, I might have been to Universal, so maybe we'll talk about that. But
that would be awesome.
Yeah, maybe we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
The tipping point, you sent me some videos. I think I said, when they showed that, I guess, and I know very little about this, but I guess normally there's at the wand shop, there's normally like like random kiddos get selected for some special, event or something. But now, because there's nobody there, basically everybody can sign up for the special thing. So for my kid's birthday, I think we'll go treat him to that.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, we we did Ollivanders, and we went in with a group, and my kids did not get picked. Only one, one other kid from another group got picked. It's fine, but if you're guaranteed to go in and it's only your family in there, and oh my God, that is that is worth the price of admission.
See, and that's where like everything else with Disney seems like a downside to compared to what our normal experience is. That seems like a win just based on the low crowds. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
so we'll see. Whenever we do this next time, I might have gone by then. So we'll see. I do want to go take pictures at Disney though. That's why I'm thinking of maybe reinstating my pass just to kind of go in but it's not open late enough. I checked the times it's open now. It closes like 7, so it's still like daylight, which isn't what I want to shoot. So I may just hold off for a bit. So, all right. Crazy times, man. Crazy times. And you know what's, I hate to say this, but it's not going to get less crazy in the second half of this year. So.
No, I agree. You're right. We're just entering into the second half. Amazingly enough.
We're heading to peak crazy here pretty soon. So.
I think you're right. I think leading, into the last quarter of the year, it's going to get extremely crazy.
All right. Well, stay tuned. We'll see how that affects Disney. All right. I'm going to go play with the security stuff over at Disney right now. I'm going to drive over there.
All right. Watch Hamilton. Okay.
Is that still a thing? I thought that got canceled. Somebody told me that was getting canceled.
Not at all. It's doing phenomenally.
I know.
Disney Plus.
I know.
All right.
I'll make that my homework.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Talk to you next time.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of Starport 75. Follow Chris on Twitter and Instagram at CBGray, and Glenn on Twitter and Instagram at DizWiz. Follow the show on Twitter and Facebook at Starport75 and Instagram at TheStarport75. For all things related to the show, including show notes and links to connect with us, visit us at starport75.com.